Thank you for that lovely intro. This is an apple. We all know what an apple is. We've all had it. It's beautiful, bright, and red. It's one of my favorite fruits, actually. I love apples. We also know that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. We've all heard it. We teach it to our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and the cycle goes on. Our mothers also cut it 3 times for us and shove it in our faces every single day. But the other day, I heard something quite disappointing about this fruit. I found out that apples are not as healthy as we think they are. Amongst all the fruits, they're actually the least healthy fruit. In fact, there's more sugar in them than even chocolate. So it's probably better for us to eat chocolates than apples. I felt so betrayed when I found out about that. So now, when you go back home and your mom tries to cut you another bowl of fruits, make sure to tell her not to and maybe give you some chocolates instead. And also make sure to tell her that everything I just said was a complete lie. That was all made up. I just made it all up. How many of you believed it, honestly? Raise your hand. If I could fool you all in just 90 seconds with a microphone and a little bit of confidence, can you imagine what the media you consume does to you every single day of your lives? You consume it every day. It's all around you. It shapes the way you think, the way you act, the way you talk, the way you behave. It shapes how you see the world, whether that's right or wrong. That is the power of media. And media, we see it in many different shapes and forms, right? It's not just the Instagram or TikTok or even Facebook if there are some old people here. No offense to my dad. Or even print media like billboards or newspapers, posters, all of that is media. My speech here today is a form of media. So it's all around you. It consumes you. It follows you. So imagine what kind of impact it must have on you. It can shape your thoughts, your opinions, your values, but it can also shape very simple things like your food choices. That's a simple decision we make every day in our lives. What do we want to eat? For example, how many of you here like karak chai? I love karak chai. A lot of people here in the UAE love it. We know that chai originates in South Asia. South Asians love chai, right? But what if I tell you that Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis actually used to hate chai for decades, for years. And the only reason chai became popular amongst them was because of media. And don't worry, I'm not lying to you this time. The rest of my speech is completely factual. So let me explain. When the British came to India, they started growing tea. They started exporting tea, consuming tea. They loved tea. They would have it all the time. So the Indians started associating tea with the upper class, with a higher status, with the elite. It didn't feel like tea represented them. So they hated it. They didn't want to have tea. They wanted nothing to do with tea. But the British wanted to sell tea to the Indians. They wanted to make money off of it. So what did they do? They launched a 40-year-long marketing campaign, 40 years, where they put up these posters everywhere in stalls, booths, train stations, residential homes, everywhere, so that the Indians could see it. And they strategically put Indian women holding chai, use different Indian languages to showcase tea as an Indian drink, not as a Western drink. And slowly, do you know what happened? Slowly, South Asians started to consume tea. They started liking it. They added their own spices into it and they made masala chai, which traveled all across the world. They came to the UAE and we got karak chai. It went to the US and unfortunately we got chai tea latte. And now chai is the second most popular consumed beverage in the world. That is the power of media. So it shapes something simple like your food choices. But what's scarier is when it shapes your thoughts, your opinions, your values. And that happens way more often than you would think. Imagine that a belief that you have is not actually yours. It was planted in you because of something you saw on TikTok and you didn't even realize it. That's what movies do. They subconsciously create images, stereotypes, minds, and opinions in your mind. I'll give you a personal example.
When I was younger, for the longest time, I thought I was ugly. I thought not because of my height or my weight or the way my face looks, but because of my skin color. Because every Hollywood, Bollywood, or Pakistani movie or show I would watch, what would I see? I would see fair, white women. And I immediately started associating being fair with being beautiful. That's what I equated beauty to, which a lot of girls do. And I obviously couldn't put white paint all over my body, so that just meant that I'm not beautiful. I strongly believed that for almost 18 years of my life. But then, as I started growing older, and I started realizing, I started becoming more secure, started having my own opinions, and also I started seeing more brown girls on social media, creating content, starting businesses, doing makeup, doing fashion, and that inspired me. And that also made me realize that that belief that I had was completely ridiculous. And slowly, I let go of that. And I don't believe in it at all. That is the power of media. You can do good with it and you can do bad with it. It can help you create insecurities, but it can also help you eliminate those insecurities. But what's worse is when you create a positive or a negative image about yourself because of media. What's even worse than that is if someone else creates a negative image about you before they've even met you. And that also happens way more often than we think. That's how stereotypes are formed. I remember when I visited the States for the very first time in my life, I was so excited. It was my very first time in the US. I've been wanting to go there for quite some time. And when I went, I was asked very strange questions by some people. You're Pakistani, how do you speak English? Or they'd ask me, can you actually drive where you come from? How can you post so publicly on social media? Isn't that not allowed? People would ask questions like that. And I thought, how can people think like that? But it's because of what they see online, because of people like me. That's what they see about people like me. And that's when I realized that I don't want others to create narratives and stories about me and my people. I want to control the narrative myself. I want to decide what is my story. And that is why I decided I want to create content. I want to get into the media space. And so we started Karak with Mahreen, a podcast where we talk all about South Asian and Arab cultures. We have unfiltered conversations. We challenge stereotypes. We showcase real stories from real people. And we've made some impact. We've reached around 200 million views. We talk about multiple different things, from colorism to why South Asians eat with their hands, everything. I want people to be proud of who they are and where they come from. I want people to know that South Asians, Arabs, all of us, we're not villains, we're not criminals. We're actually probably the most hospitable people you'll ever meet in your life. And you can only do that through authentic, real conversations. My most favorite episode was with Talha, who is a Korean driver here in Dubai. He openly shared about his experiences, his challenges, his whole life story. And the best part was when I asked him, what is your biggest dream in life? And you know what he said? He said his biggest dream was to buy a BMW for his best friend. Not for himself, but for his best friend. That was his biggest dream in life. Now, when someone sees that, what do they think? What do they see? They see the humility of our people. They see the hospitality of our people. They see the true essence of our people. On the show, we also wanted people to learn something new about our cultures. So we share a lot of cultural information. And the other day, Mufti Menk, who is a famous Islamic scholar, also commented when he learned something new about samosas on the show. That is the power of media. You can do good with it, but it's truly up to you how you consume it and how you create content with it. But when I was writing this speech, I realized that not everyone here today would want to create content or will create content. But what is something that every single one of you here today can do? If you cannot create content, you can control the content that you consume. We spend almost 6 years of our lives using social media. 6 years. That's more than eating and drinking. So why can't we filter out unnecessary conversations, limit screen time? Why can't we be picky when we're deciding what content we want to consume? Unfollow people. Delete chats. Ask yourself, is what you're watching adding value to your life or is it corrupting it? Because media can truly do anything. In the beginning of my speech, I was able to convince you of a complete lie. So it's really up to you to either take the content as is or question and challenge it. Because media can create wars. It can also save lives. It's created pain, but also happiness. It's created fear, but also hope. It's really done it all. But at the end of the day, it's your decision what you do with it. If I could leave you with just 2 things. Number 1 is that this is the power of media. And it's up to you to decide whether you want to be controlled by it or if you want to control it. And number 2 is that apples do keep the doctors away. Thank you very much.